Good day, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of our IPCon. We're happy to have you guys on board for yet another informative day in which we want to share some new knowledge with you guys. My name is Charles Cray. I'm the Cambium Networks product manager here at Maestro Distribution, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of our flagship brands, Cambium Networks, and looking at specifically their outdoor wireless equipment and how that can be used to provide all sorts of ISPs and integrators with more capacity. Whether you're big or small, we're going to show you how this can be done. So without any further ado, I'm just going to jump over to my slide deck so we can progress. I see we've got a number of different types of people in the attendees list today. Some new names, some familiar ones as well. Shout out to Ross from WireLink. We'll definitely be discussing you guys a bit today. Awesome, guys. Just before we progress, I'll just like to just ask if any of you could just let me know that you can hear me clearly and that you can see the presentation that I've projected or shared. Awesome. Thank you, Ross. Cool, guys. So today we're going to be discussing more capacity for all WISPs, also known as WISPs. Okay, so whether you're big or small, like I said, we want to show you how the Cambium Networks end-to-end solution can be used to bring more capacity to your network and ultimately a better experience for you as a WISP as well as your highly valued client base. So once again, guys, if you didn't catch the beginning part of this presentation, my name is Charles Cray and I'm the Cambium Networks product manager here at Maestro Distribution. So just a quick rundown for those of you that aren't that familiar with Cambium Networks as to who they are and where they come from. So as briefly mentioned in the beginning, we're going to be discussing outdoor wireless equipment today. But Cambium is quite simply put a wireless brand in many regards. Okay, they do outdoor wireless equipment, enterprise Wi-Fi, and so forth. And look, when weighing Cambium up against its competitors, they are definitely one of the newer kids on the block. Okay, but with that being said, one of the main focuses of today is to show you how fast they have progressed and essentially not just matched the performance of their competitors, but actually exceeded it in many regards. Okay, so looking at Cambium's beginnings, okay, they're actually the results of two companies that merged, Canopy and Orthogon Systems, whereby basically Canopy brought forward their point-to-multipoint equipment and Orthogon Systems point-to-point equipment. So basically the merging of two startups, which were later acquired by Motorola. Obviously, you guys are very familiar with Motorola for their mobile devices, but they do also play in the outdoor wireless space. But in 2011, they spun out of Motorola to launch the next generation PTP, PMP, and ePMP platforms that we are now familiar with today. Okay, not only that, from obviously a lot of research and development, to give you an idea of how focused they actually are, Cambium put 30% of their annual revenue back into R&D each and every single year. And that's not only to improve their outdoor wireless equipment performance, but it was also done so they could launch their enterprise Wi-Fi range, which is what we discussed yesterday. So we've seen a lot of development within their portfolio, some really awesome bells and whistles that just make your life a lot easier, whether you're a WISP or an integrator. Okay, to date, sort of where we're heading and where does the roadmap lead to? A recent thing that happened with Cambium is that they actually went public and they are now listed on the NASDAQ. So if you do want to buy shares in Cambium, that is something that you can do. And furthermore, they also acquired a very high-end enterprise Wi-Fi brand called Xeris. So that's a really exciting thing that's happened there, and we can only hope to see the technology from such a solution get pulled down into more and more of the CN pilot range that we're familiar with. Looking forward, okay, of course you guys know 802.11ax Wi-Fi 6 is a major buzzword at the moment, and I'm glad to confirm that we will be getting in the Cambium CN pilot 802.11ax Wi-Fi APs shortly, hopefully before the end of this year. And on the outdoor wireless front, we also have the likes of 28 gigahertz and 60 gigahertz radios coming on board. So that's really exciting. In particular, I'm really excited about the 60 gigahertz because this is actually going to be one step up from the current 802.11 AD equipment that we're familiar with, as it's going to be 802.11 AY. So, we're definitely going to share some more information closer to the time. But I mean, the throughput and the types of speeds that you're going to see working on that standard with, world-class equipment from Cambium is really mind-blowing. So I'm really excited for that. And stay tuned. We will definitely share more information as we get closer to the release date. So here's just a quick shot of the day Cambium went public. And, that was about a year or two ago. To date, Cambium was still causing shockwaves in the market, and this is a recent article that was put out by NASDAQ saying why earnings season could be great for Cambium Networks. So I mean, obviously we see that in the business world they're doing really well, and that's also translating to the the quality and performance of the equipment that us as the ISPs and integrators are seeing out in the field. So a very strong company all around, and a solid brand name to be associating yourself with and working with. So like I said, although Cambium is one of the newer kids on the block, that's not to say that they haven't already shook things up and caused a bit of a stir in the market. And a testament to that is the fact that Cambium has won the Manufacturer of the Year at the WISPAPALOOZA Awards for the last 3 years in a row, okay? So for those of you who don't know what the WISPAPALOOZA Awards is, it's basically the most prestigious award ceremony within our industry. So call it the Oscars of wireless. So that's a very proud accolade that they've obtained. And once again, like I said, just a testament to the quality of these products that they are creating for us. And not only are we working with one of the best brands or the best wireless brand, but it is distributed by the best, okay? So just a little opportunity for Miro to blow our horn a bit. Last year, we were actually invited to Portugal. There's a picture with me and our managing director, Marco Deru. We went through to Lisbon to collect Cambium Networks' most prestigious or top accolade, which is the Cambium Networks EMEA Distributor of the Year for 2019. And not only that, we also were awarded the Absolute Year-on-Year Growth Award in Africa for 2019. So the EMEA Distributor of the Year award obviously doesn't just count for Africa. To obtain this award, we had to beat out all the biggest distributors in Europe and the Middle East. So us coming from good old South Africa, this was really a proud moment, and it only encourages us more to improve on our level of service, supporting and distributing this amazing brand, Cambium Networks. So, in summary, what are we looking to do with Cambium Networks? And the basic idea is that we want to make what Cambium Networks refer to as a wireless fabric as accessible and easy to use for as many people as possible, okay? And, the great news is that we've got all the various tools within that wireless fabric to do so, okay? So whether you're looking to do a point-to-point solution, high-end, long-distance, high-capacity requirement, to form part of your backhaul layer, Cambium have that type of solution. All the way from that down to your point-to-multipoint layer, your distribution layer, which we're going to be discussing today. And then last but not least, whether it be residential Wi-Fi or enterprise-grade Wi-Fi, they also have the CN Pilot and CN Matrix devices to fill in that gap as well. So essentially, what the wireless fabric refers to is an end-to-end solution, okay? So multiple devices all working in harmony together, and most importantly, managed by a single solution, hosted in the cloud by Cambium Networks, and is completely free, which is CN Maestro. So definitely a very, very powerful solution that we're going to be touching on a little bit more in depth today. But really, that is probably the most comprehensive management platform that we have on offer at the moment. And best of all, there's no annual or monthly licenses attached to that whatsoever. And then last but not least, this whole wireless fabric and with these various components and devices is globally supported by Cambium support. But not only that, we do have a fully certified Miro technical support team to assist you as well. Okay, so not just with troubleshooting, but pre-sales planning as well. So whether it be a heat map that you need for a Wi-Fi application, maybe a link plan, we can assist you with that. Okay, send us through the site plans, send us through your KMZ file with your different CPE and base station coordinates, and we can put together a comprehensive plan for you so that you know exactly what your network is going to look like before you've put a single foot on site. So there's a lot of power in that, and of course we're reducing the margin for error. So in summary, you know, like I said, we've got the Cambium Networks wireless fabric, which is basically a variety of different world-class devices, all the way from your entry-level residential routers, which is obviously a very popular one amongst the ISPs because it gives you full visibility of what's happening in your client's network, all the way up to your really high-end point-to-point equipment, which will act as your backhaul layer. You know, so everything from 2 meters to 245 kilometers, all managed by a single management platform, Maestro. Okay, so today we're going to be speaking about outdoor wireless equipment from Cambium. Okay, and basically there's a variety of different options, and you know, each and every ISP has a different sort of methodology. Okay, so there's no sort of right or wrong answer. What is the best point-to-point or point-to-multipoint solution for your ISP? It's all down to your strategy. You know, you can stick to a particular solution. You can mix and match it accordingly. You know, it's down to what works best for you. Okay, and the only way we're going to be able to, you know, advise you, you know, with regards to what's the best equipment is we need to, you know, speak to you guys. You guys get feedback from you, empathize with you, and understand the application to see, okay, you know, what is the best solution. We don't want to give you something that's under-spec'd, but at the same time, we don't want to just, you know, make you spend unnecessary money for something that's going to be a complete overkill. Okay, so the nice thing about the Cambium portfolio is whether you're going for something like the CN Medusa, Ross, you'll know what we're talking about, as WireLink do use quite a few of these, you know, for your larger enterprise clients or your higher end residential clients, or you're looking to use something like the ePMP 3000 for your small to medium sized businesses as well as residential clients, or the previous generation ePMP 2000 for, you know, slightly lower bandwidth applications or residential clients. Okay, these can all work together in harmony with each other. Okay, whereby, you know, collectively what you're able to bring to the table is state-of-the-art features such as GPS synchronization, frequency reuse, smart beamforming, intelligent filtering, MU-MIMO, and you know, ultimately what we're looking to do here is maximize your return on investment. Okay, so as much as we love to rave about the technical bells and whistles, trust me, I can go on about this for days. You know, at the end of the day, we're trying to build the strongest possible business case for you guys. So we're going to be looking at two primary components of the outdoor wireless portfolio. So first of all, we're going to take a look at the ePMP range, followed by the legendary 450M CN Medusa. Okay, so right now the ePMP range is the most used and most popular point-to-multipoint solution from Cambium at the moment. Okay, we've got 3 generations that have been released, and the latest one being the ePMP 3000. Okay, which is this little radio over here. You can see it's a connectorized unit, and maybe something that might stand out as a little bit odd or different to you is the fact that we've got 4 connectors here, which I'm going to explain to you why that is the case. So as I mentioned, this is currently the flagship point-to-multipoint solution at the moment, okay, within the ePMP range. So what you would generally use to set up a base station is obviously the connectorized radio itself, which will also be bundled up with a sectorized base station antenna, and you can also attach an additional smart beamforming unit, which I'm going to explain the purpose of that now. So basically 3 simple components that would typically be mounted up on a base station, on a tower, which will then communicate with multiple CPE devices, or also known as subscriber modules. Okay, so this particular radio is known as a 4x4 802.11 AC Wave 2 unit with MU-MIMO. So this is the first AC Wave 2 base station that we've ever had at Miro, and because of that that protocol that it operates on, it enabled MU-MIMO on this radio. So the value in that is that whereas a traditional point-to-multipoint base station will communicate with all its CPE devices in millisecond time slots, okay, in a merry-go-round fashion, typically, this radio will speak to 2 client devices within those millisecond time slots. So essentially what you're doing is you're halving the time that it takes to serve your clients. So obviously, you know, in a smaller network, you're not generally going to notice it. Like, it's not going to be that noticeable to you and I, but you can imagine as you build that network up more and more and add more clients, the more those millisecond time slots add up, which will ultimately increase your latency. So that's where something like MU-MIMO comes into play, because like I said, rule of thumb, before we even look at what else the radio has to offer, stronger processor, beamforming, etc., this radio operates twice as fast as a traditional AC radio. So a very powerful solution. Okay. Furthermore, the radio can push up to 120 subscriber modules. Okay. This is obviously as per the data sheet. In a real life scenario, guys, you'll know that we need to do planning. We need to look at what is the noise and interference in the area, how many clients are we looking to serve, and what type of internet packages are we trying to allocate to them. That will, of course, all influence the number of subscriber modules. But with that being said, 120 units right off the bat is significantly higher than any of its competitors. So quite simply put, there is nothing that can quite compete with this radio, unless you're wanting to stack up multiple units on top of each other to sort of serve the same area. But as you guys will know, that's not an efficient method, because essentially you're just using up your own available spectrum. Okay, next of all, the unit's able to push up to 1.2 gigabits per second, and that's assuming that you're operating at 256 QAM and you've opened the radio up to a full 80 megahertz. Okay, now we know in a real life scenario that's not always the case, or something that you'll be able to do. But if you're working with 1.2 gigabits per second at 80 megahertz, if we're having to narrow it down to, let's say, 40 megahertz, you still have 600 megabits per second to work with. So a really powerful solution, high capacity that you're able to push out. The units come equipped with industry-leading GPS synchronization and frequency reuse, as with its predecessor, the ePMP 2000. And basically what that means is the GPS synchronization will synchronize multiple units up on a tower, meaning that you can actually, within millisecond time slots, the base stations will fire off at different intervals to ensure that they don't clash with each other, meaning that you can actually reutilize the same frequency or portion of that spectrum with different radios. So it's a very efficient way to use available spectrum, but also a very ethical way to go about it as well, because you're not hogging all the available bandwidth. If there's other guys up on that tower, you're being conscious of that and being respectful by, not just, like I say, using up all the available spectrum. You also have features like intelligent filtering. This is basically as a sort of a buffer on the side, on either side of the channels that you're using, which will prevent any spillover or noise or interference from people using channels that are close to that of yours. Okay, so just another sort of feature that improves the robustness and stability of your link. Okay, the radio also comes with smart beamforming. Now, being an 802.11 AC Wave 2 unit, it does already have a natural element of beamforming. But the smart beamforming antenna, which is a physical unit that just clips onto the base of your sectorized or of your 90-degree sector antenna, will just further refine that feature. Okay, so the way smart beamforming works is when your base station communicates with the CPE, it maps out the most efficient route of communication. Okay, and in doing so, it avoids any noise and interference that may clash with that connection or that link. Whereby with a radio that doesn't have smart beamforming, it's having to work out that route every single time it fires off from your base station to your SM, which will ultimately take a little bit more time, adding to the latency of your network. So with smart beamforming, you're avoiding noise and interference, ensuring better stability and higher throughput in the long run. So that is the main base station, the flagship base station with the ePMP 3000 range. And the respective subscriber modules or CPE device is the ePMP Force 300 range. Okay, so these are obviously also 802.11 AC Wave 2 units, as they will operate on the same wireless protocol as your base station. The respective range, like I said, is called the Force 300. And we've got a few different options. Okay, we've got a 25 dBi, a 19 dBi, a 16 dBi, a 13 dBi, and a CSM, so your connectorized subscriber module. Now, something to note is that every single one of these Force 300 units have exactly the same radio chipset. They're just going to change in form factor depending on the dBi of the integrated antenna. So, what Cambium have done is they've given you a lot of flexibility to, pick the right SM depending on the distance that you're trying to cover. At the end of the day, we don't want to rip you off and, you come forward and say, look, I've only got a point to multipoint solution where I'm covering, let's say, 1 kilometer. In that regard, or scenario, it's not going to make sense to bundle up your base station with a Force 325 dBi. Instead, what I'm going to say is let's rather look at something like this really nice small form factor Force 313 dBi unit. Okay. The units are able to push up to 500 megabits per second, and to support those types of speeds, of course, it's got a gigabit port. A question that we often do get regarding the backward compatibility on the ePMP 3000 is, do the previous generation of SMs that work with the ePMP 2000, such as the 802.11n Force 200, Force 190, and 180 units, work with the ePMP 3000? Now, the answer is yes. It can most certainly do that, and the point-to-multipoint network will work, but you will have to step down the wireless protocol that you're using on your base station to the older generation 802.11n. Okay, so you will see an improvement if you're using the ePMP 3000 on 802.11n. Definitely, it's got more processing power and whatnot than the ePMP 2000, but you're going to lose the main features like 4x4 MU-MIMO, so that speaking to 2 SMs at once won't happen. But nonetheless, it's a good migration route. Not everyone can obviously afford to swap out their existing SMs. So if you're looking to get better performance on your network, you can most certainly swap out your ePMP 2000 for an ePMP 3000. And then, as you get budget, or as SMs need replacing, for higher throughput, you can swap those older generation SMs out and then slot in a new Force 300. And by the time your whole network's changed up to the Force 300 SMs, you can then step up your wireless protocol back to 802.11 AC Wave 2, and then you're rocking with 4x4 MU-MIMO. So really a top-class network at that point. Something to note is that the ePMP 3000 will be compatible with future devices. Okay, so whether you're looking at the SM or the base station, Cambium will make them forward compatible with future devices. So if you've rolled out a network with the ePMP 3000 base station and the Force 300 SMs, let's say hypothetically in two years or so time, we've got the ePMP 4000, you will be able to swap out that ePMP 3000 and put in the newer unit. Last but not least, something I just want to mention is that, of course, these Force 300 units are the dedicated subscriber module for your ePMP 3000 base station, but it's also a very, very nice, cost-effective point-to-point solution as well. Like I said, being AC Wave 2, you can push up to 500 megabits per second, and at a very cost-effective price point, if you've got a quick point-to-point link that you need to set up, this is definitely a solution to look at. If you're not quite requiring, something like the PTP 670 or PTP 550 dedicated backhaul radio with, channel bonding, etc., that's a bit of an overkill, then you can definitely look at the Force 300 radios to do a quick point-to-point link. Now, something that I really appreciate that Cambium have done in recent times is they've made the ePMP 3000 range a lot more accessible by introducing more cost-effective SMs with, low dBi options, as well as more cost-effective base stations. So one of those is the ePMP 3000L, and basically I would refer to this as the ePMP 3000's baby brother. Okay, so it's still 802.11 AC Wave 2, but it is a 2x2 MU-MIMO unit, but nonetheless can also still push up to 64 subscriber modules. Okay, equipped with frequency reuse, GPS synchronization. It is an ideal micropop solution, for where you just quite simply need to fill in the gaps in your network. So maybe you've got 1 or 2 outliers outside of your main sector or your main tower. You might want to just, hook up a quick point-to-point link as a backhaul solution to one of these units to just cover that one specific area that's outlying. So you might have a few sort of lower end clients, or you might have a few clients that have a high capacity demand, 10 clients that want really top class packages. This will be the perfect solution for that. And furthermore, it's an ideal migration tool. So if you're starting up in an area and you don't quite have the client base to justify, going with a fully fledged ePMP 3000 as of yet, then by all means, start off with the ePMP 3000L. Obviously these work with the Force 300 SMs, and you can build your network up, to the point where when you reach that subscriber module or throughput threshold, you can then go and change over to the ePMP 3000. And it's as simple as a base station swap out. And then, of course, you can reutilize this ePMP 3000L for maybe a new network or another area. So definitely a great migration tool to bear in mind, and a very cost-effective way to start with a flagship solution. So this radio is compatible with the Cambium ePMP 90/120 degree sector antenna. So that's definitely a great option if you're looking to cover straight 90 degrees. But something that I really think is cool is that RF Elements brought out a Twistport adapter for specifically this model. So the ePMP 3000L and ePMP 1000 take on the same external form factor. So the RF Elements Twistport adapter quite simply clips onto the top of that and will then let you choose whatever RF Elements asymmetrical horn that you want to clip on there. So we've got a whole bunch of different options, a 30 degree, a 60 degree, 90 degree. So whatever sort of degree you need, you can pick that from the RF Elements portfolio. Okay, and I mean, for those of you that don't know about RF Elements, they do a lot of collaboration with Cambium because these guys are sort of the Mercedes-Benz of antennas. So they put a lot of research and design into creating these antennas to be obviously built for really noisy environments where you need noise rejection technology. Obviously using something like a Twistport adapter that forms a zero loss connection. And there's massive scalability. So just as basically illustrated here, you can mix and match, with the different asymmetrical options, whether it be a 30 degree, a 90 degree, 60 degree, whatever that may be, to roll out your network, and also not spill over into other areas that will just cause noise and interference for you and your competitors. Then one of the latest releases, which also I'm a huge fan of this, is the ePMP MP3000. So MP3000 for Micro Pop 3000. Something to note is this is in actual fact exactly the same radio chipset as the ePMP 3000L. It just takes on a slightly different form factor, as it is an integrated 9 dBi dual polarity omnidirectional antenna. That's built in, obviously. So it's still 802.11 AC Wave 2, 2x2 MIMO, up to 64 subscriber modules. And once again, of course, being called a micro pop, it is ideal for micro pop applications. So, really nice to just slot in for those smaller areas or smaller number of subscriber modules where you need to just cover let's say a 360 degree area, no further than 1 to 2 kilometers. Very, very cost effective. I must say, when Cambium launched this, I was really taken back by the price point, as it really does make sense for anyone who's looking to roll out over those smaller applications. We also see a lot of guys use it for the universities, and open public spaces where they want to hook up a few access points or cameras. It's a perfect sort of hub and spoke solution where you've got a centralized ePMP MicroPop 3000 that can be connected to, let's say, a variety of different 4300, 13 dBIs, 4300, 16 dBi subscriber modules, which will obviously act as a backhaul for your Wi-Fi and your surveillance devices. So a very neat solution. So ultimately, this will help you get capacity to where it's needed most. This is just a little illustration of a typical residential coverage. And then, guys, so the next sort of step up, as I said earlier, we've got the legendary PMP 450 MC and Medusa. So yeah, Ross, I think I'm going to hand over to you now. I'm just joking, but yeah, Ross from Wirelink, he's obviously used these to quite an extensive rate, and they're really doing phenomenal things with this specific solution. So I know that the likes of Wirelink openly advertise 50 meg lines through the air, and obviously it's down to this type of technology that would enable one to do that. So this is really an awesome solution. And yeah, so just to give you a quick rundown, so this is the next sort of step up from your ePMP range. And one of the key features right off the bat is the fact that this unit has massive MU MIMO, which is 14 by 14 MU MIMO, meaning that this radio has the ability to communicate with 7 subscriber modules at once. Okay, so whereas the ePMP 3000 will speak to 2 SIMs at once, which is also, of course, groundbreaking. Cambium went a bit crazy with their R&D and decided to step it up to 7 subscriber modules at once. So really the first of its kind in the market, and a really top-notch solution for handling a large number of concurrent connections. Okay, it does come with a smart beamforming integrated into this 90-degree sector, achieving up to 1.2 gigabits per second. Okay, which, yes, you might say that is the same as the ePMP 3000, but the significance here is that this is happening only within a very narrow 40 megahertz channel. Okay, obviously still operating within the 5 gigahertz ISM band, but this is using half the channel width of that of a traditional AC radio. It does operate on a different protocol, your OFDM protocol, but yeah, if you're working with 1.2 gigabits per second on 40 megahertz, if you are in an extremely noisy area, you can then narrow that down to 20 megahertz and and push 600 megabits per second. So that's really unheard of. Furthermore, you can push up to 238 concurrent connections. Once again, guys, as I said, this is as per the data sheet. To get an accurate estimate, we would want to do a link plan, input, a bit of a noise floor, look at the distances that we're looking to work with, and that's what's going to give you, the most accurate answer on the number of connections that you can serve. The units do come with built-in GPS synchronization and frequency reuse as well. So if you have multiple CN Medusas up on the tower, they will work in harmony with each other and allow you to reutilize the available spectrum. With regards to the subscriber module options, this is very straightforward. We've got 2 variants of the Medusa's SM, which is called the 450B, and you've got your first option, which is the mid-gain unit and the high-gain unit. Okay, so it's quite simple, as you've got it's as simple as a 17 dBi mid-gain unit and a 24 dBi high-gain unit. Okay, gigabit ports to support speeds up to 300 megabits per second. So also a very nice point-to-point solution for a very noisy area. So definitely bear that in mind. I know that we do sell the high-gain units in packs of 4. So if you do have 1 or 2 extra units, after buying a bulk load, don't despair. You can use it for a really nice point-to-point link as well. So yeah, guys, in summary, this is really the top grade point-to-multipoint solution from Cambium. But as I said, it's not down to what's the best solution. It's down to what's the best solution for you. So, there will definitely be certain scenarios where we're going to say, look, although we love the PMP 450M, perhaps maybe an ePMP 3000L will be more applicable as it's a smaller area, lower number of clients, there's not too much noise, etc. So, each application will change, but speak to us. We'll help you with the planning and help you advise you on what's the best solution for your application. But definitely for the larger guys, the big boys in the market right now, this is the solution that they're standardizing on, and they really are doing phenomenal things. And I mean, phenomenal things for our country, connecting businesses, different cities, rural communities. It's absolutely phenomenal. So to those of you guys that have been doing it, a huge shout out, well done, and thank you for what you guys have been doing. Then a new addition to the PMP range, which is we launched this, I think, sometime towards the beginning of this year, is the PMP 450M Lite unit. Okay, so basically, as the ePMP 3000L was the baby brother to the ePMP 3000, the PMP 450 Lite is the baby brother to the PMP 450M CN Medusa. Okay, so this unit is an integrated 90-degree sector, has an integrated 90-degree sector, and also has frequency reuse. You're able to push up to 300 megabits per second per sector in a 40 megahertz channel. So once again, still obviously a very narrow channel, and of course in a noisier area you can slim that down to 20, etc. Okay, it's got an ultra wideband radio support, so all the way from 4,900 to 5,925 megahertz. So you've got a lot of different options within the 5 gigahertz spectrum, of channels that you can use. It is a very robust unit, obviously being, the more carrier grade type equipment. These units are built with rugged metal enclosures, and they've got IP66 and IP67 standards that they are in line with. Okay. You do have dynamic interference filtering to provide industry-leading noise isolation and improve performance. I mean, you can also just see from the build here, it's got a very thick metal backplate to prevent any backbleed. So once again, very robust, built for the noisiest environments. Okay. Obviously, we know 5 gigahertz is a very scarce resource. So we need to build these radios as best as we can to be able to handle that noise and interference and use the very little, sometimes very little available spectrum that we have available to us. So that's really where this slots in. So on this sector, you can still push up to 238 subscriber modules, but the light model comes standard with the limitation of 20 subscriber modules, but there is a license key available to upgrade it to get that full capacity. Okay. And the unit operates on 2x2 MIMO OFDM. That's the protocol. And yeah, in summary, this is another great migration tool. So if you're not quite ready to jump to the full CN Medusa, the 450M solution, then this is a great way to get started. Okay. So, get this set up, work with the 450B subscriber modules. And once again, when you start to reach your capacity or your subscriber module threshold, it's as simple as a straight swap out to obviously the legendary 450M. Then just a few value adds that I wanted to cover in summary, guys. I don't want to run over time. I see we've got about another 15 minutes or so. Cambium's LinkPlanner that I mentioned. So this is probably the most comprehensive link planning tool that we have available. And best of all, once again, it is for free. So if you go to the Cambium Networks website, you can download this, no problem. Okay, so it works with your integrated PTP and PMP path planning. Well, it allows you to do that. It's highly accurate with regards to performance predictions and your throughput. You can work out the modulation rate that you need to use. It tells you the availability. It obviously helps you with your scenario planning. And as you can see, you've got things like your path profile. You can pull the coordinates of your either your base station or your CPE devices from a KMZ file. So that obviously helps streamline the whole process by pulling that data directly into LinkPlanner. Create a link plan, look at the path profile, even input a bit of a noise floor to see how that would actually impact your performance. So really a great tool. And the nice thing is once your link plan is complete, it will actually generate a full link plan report to tell you the expected throughput and performance of each and every single radio in that network. So furthermore, giving you a full end-to-end bill of materials. So if you've already done your whole link plan and you're confident that that's the way you want to go, you already have that bill of materials. You can send it directly to one of the Mirror sales engineers to put together the respective quote for you. Okay, so definitely a really cool feature to use for free. And if you're not comfortable with this or you want to maybe learn a little bit more, please reach out to me. Let me know. I can either send you some resources. We've got plenty of videos from Cambium, plenty of training stuff from Mirror side, and we can even go as far as setting up a quick live demo for you as well. Sometimes we've got guys that take on a large project, and quite simply put, there is no other route to go than the Cambium route. And it could very well be their first time using the solution. So we need to throw together a few crash courses and obviously get them clued up and get them comfortable with the solution. But nonetheless, definitely take a look at the Mirror Academy. We are uploading a lot of new Cambium content on a weekly basis. Then guys, CN Maestro that I briefly mentioned earlier on the Cambium Wireless Fabric page. This is Cambium's end-to-end management solution. So whether it be a point-to-point backhaul radio or a single residential router, this is all covered or managed by your CN Maestro platform. Okay, you can do very easy onboarding with this, with zero-touch onboarding by simply using the serial number of a Wi-Fi access point, for instance. You can onboard and pre-configure that AFP. As soon as it gets plugged in and has an internet connection, it will automatically pull down that configuration. So, you can be, let's say I'm up here in Joburg, my installation team is down in Durban. I say, cool, guys, look, there's the Mirror Durban branch there. Please go and pull some E410s that will be needed for let's say, a healthcare application down in Durbs. As soon as you get it, please send me the SNs, and at that point, as soon as I've got the serial numbers, I can claim those devices, pre-configure them before they've even been taken out of the box. My installation team just needs to take the APs to that healthcare facility, plug it into an internet connection, and everything will already be configured. So you can imagine how that can reduce your overheads, the simplicity, enhance the simplicity of your installation and so forth. You're able to monitor your entire network via Maestro. So leverage different dashboards, statistics. You can plot your radios geographically on maps and whatnot. So you've got a good idea of what's happening in your network, what type of performance you're getting, etc. Like I said, you can configure your devices automatically using things like zero-touch onboarding, and then you've got an intuitive end-to-end troubleshooting, capability as well. So you're able to sort of pinpoint problems before they become a major problem. Like I said, or like I like to use, the typical one is the ISP scenario where you've got a client calling you up saying, look, your ISP is horrible. You promised me like a 10 meg line, and this thing is useless. It's not working. YouTube isn't working. At which point you then say, no, sir, just give me a second. You'll jump onto your cnMaestro account. You'll go and see exactly what's happening with the router. And at which point you'll call your client back and say, no, sir, your child is streaming in 4K, and that's what's hogging all the bandwidth. So there's a lot of power there. And like once again, as I said, it will reduce your overheads, reduce the requirement for truck rolls, more help desk staff, etc. So definitely cnMaestro is a major game changer from having your entire network visible from a single pane of glass. And furthermore, I mean, if you've got different sites and such, you can actually break those up. You can allocate different privileges to different people, whether you want them to be a manager or monitor or have monitoring rights just to view it. If you do have any troubles, you don't have to share your entire cnMaestro account details with someone. You can only grant them access to a specific site. And that's pretty much how Cambium supports will step in and help you. You'll just give them access to a particular site. So if you're an ISP and / integrator, WISPAGrator, maybe you've got a bunch of residential clients in a certain area, that can be its own site. Maybe you're doing the, let's say, Soccer City with the enterprise Wi-Fi rollout, that can be its own site and so forth. Then a really nifty app, just one of the last things I wanted to mention is the cnArcher mobile app. This is something that's free off your Apple Store or your Google Play Store. Basically, it just helps you manage your radios and get visibility of what's going on, but most importantly, actually reduce your installation time. So it helps with your CPE alignment, upgrading the software, and completing your configuration. So definitely something to go check out. I'm not going to go on about this too much, but just basically it will help you simplify and reduce the time of your installations. Then, guys, last but not least, just a few examples. One of the examples in Europe that we like to speak about that are standardized on Cambium is YOLO in Italy. So this is the largest WISP in Europe with over 600,000 Cambium devices within their network that are all being managed from cnMaestro. So these guys are really moving at a fast rate, obviously empowering lots of people in Europe with connectivity. And something really cool was that last year on the Netflix Index, which is an annual report that gets pushed out regarding ISP's performance within Europe, YOLO actually topped the fastest speeds list, being the fastest ISP with regards to their average internet package that they would allocate to their clients. And all 9 runners-up were actually fiber installers or fiber ISPs. So that's crazy to think that wireless actually beat out fiber, and not just 1 or 2, 9 of them that were in the top 10. So it just shows you the power of Cambium, and that particular ISP standardizes on the 450 MC and Medusa. Then once again, WireLink, Ross, we're back on you guys again. This is a proud South African example. WireLink, who, as I mentioned, are rolling out at a rapid rate on the 450 MC and Medusa, and are providing 50 meg lines through the air. So I mean, that's absolutely phenomenal to think, of us seeing those types of wireless speeds in Africa, it's absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, guys, last but not least, we've also got Herotel, which is the largest WISP holding group in South Africa. So that's a number of different WISPs that fall under the Herotel umbrella. And yeah, they also have standardized onto the Cambium solution, primarily using the ePMP with a few 450 MCM Medusa. So, it's nice to obviously rave about what's happening overseas, but when you've got the likes of Wirelink, Herotel that are actually, breaking ground here in South Africa, showing us how it can be done, it's really a phenomenal thing to look at and something we're very proud of. Cool, guys. So that sort of sums things up. I think I've got about another 10 minutes or so, which I'll use to give you guys the opportunity to swing through some questions. So while you guys are typing out your questions, if you have any, slot it into the comments box there. But in the meantime, whip out your phone camera and please scan this QR code. As we've got a few prize giveaways from Cambium. We're going to be giving away a few 1,000 Rand Take-A-Lot vouchers. So all you need to do is scan this QR code, but wait, it's not going to be that easy. I have a little questionnaire on some Cambium, that has some Cambium questions, very basic, guys. I've made it quite easy. You might laugh at one or two of them, but it's just 5 very simple questions that will let you be eligible to win one of these prizes. So definitely enter that. It's a very quick and easy way to win a 1,000 Rand Take-A-Lot voucher. Yeah, guys, so in summary, I think we've got 10 more minutes left, just under. If anyone's got any questions, please pop it into the comments section on the right. I'll really appreciate that. But if you have any more questions, maybe an application or project that you'd like to run by me, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. As I mentioned, my name is Charles de Crey. I'm the product manager for Cambium Networks here at Miro. This is my email address, and for any general quotes or sales inquiries, maybe you want to find out the price point of that micro pop or the 3000L, then definitely send a mail through to sales@miro.co.za or give us a call. But guys, something I really want to emphasize is, in the scenario, I know that you guys are the frontline soldiers. Our ISPs, our integrators, and obviously Miro falls in the place of the value-added distributor. But it's important to note that we are essentially business partners. We're working together. We're in this as much as you guys are. So please don't hesitate to ask us for support, to let us know if we can help you with your planning or whatever it may be. If there's a certain component, speaking for Miro across the board, that you maybe don't find on our catalog or in our price list, let us know what it is that you need, because we can either pull it from one of our existing brands, or if need be, maybe even source it from somewhere else. We want to, at the end of the day, always strive to offer you the most complete solution with all the bits and bobs, not just your beautiful Cambium equipment, but that mask that you may need, your end-to-end power solution with your Victron regulators, your batteries, etc. Let us build that end-to-end solution for you. That's why you are a Miro business partner. But yeah, guys, I'd like to thank you once again for taking the time. We really do appreciate it, and definitely stick around. There's a bunch more of exciting presentations coming through. I know we've got RF elements coming up next. We've got Herman coming through and speaking about the RF elements antennas. I certainly hope that he mentions using RF elements with Cambium, just as payback for this session. But definitely going to be an awesome one. I'm definitely going to be listening in on that RF elements presentation. And we've got a whole bunch more to come: EdgeCore, IgniteNet, BDCom, ZK Teco, TP-Link, Sangoma, Untangle, and Siklu for the rest of the day. So definitely stick around for those. Obviously, just go back to the calendar, click on the link for whatever event you want to join. And then just a heads up that tomorrow is the last day of our virtual IPCon. We will be doing a bunch of technical sessions, and the reason why I want to mention that is because we've actually got 2 exciting Cambium technical sessions. The first of which is going to be looking at Maestro for both residential and enterprise Wi-Fi applications, and the second one is going to be looking at Cambium Networks LinkPlanner. So a quick crash course that can get you up to speed on exactly how easy that solution is to use, even though it obviously does offer a really rich feature set. So yeah, guys, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to hear from you soon. Enjoy the rest of the Miro IPCon. I'll stick around for another minute or two. If there's any questions, please pop it through. I'll be happy to answer. But if not, thanks guys, and have a fantastic day.